been 8 months since Garrett Richards' injury in Boston, but today he finally makes his return to the mound for the Halos in a major league game. Angels, Astros, next. Beautiful afternoon here in Houston. It is a perfect day for baseball as the Angels and the Astros wrap up this three-game set today, the rubber game of the series. Hi, everybody, from inside Minute Maid Park, we welcome you back to Angels baseball here at Fox Sports West, along with Mark Gubiza. I'm Victor Rojas. The Angels won Game 1. Yesterday, they were shut out for the first time in quite some time out on the road. 4-0 the final, but at least today, Mike Scioscia hands the ball off to Garrett Richards, and I know he's chomping at the bit right now.
Yeah, Victor, it's great to have him back. He's got ace-type stuff, and take a look at our AT&T U-verse rewind going back to last year at Fenway Park. He was on a mission last year, throwing the ball so well, covering first base, got his knee caught, ended up hurting that patella tendon, was out for the rest of the season. Big thing for Garrett. He's been able to move past that. He's worked extremely hard during the offseason. Of course, some rehab starts. 13-game winner last year. What he did in his last 14 starts was outstanding. ERA 1.79, 9-2 mark. His mechanics much better. He said it's almost a blessing what had happened to him as far as being able to maintain his mechanics, stay slow and stay quiet over the pitching rubber. His fastball is outstanding. His slider very good. Even his curveball at this point, solid. Just be able to maintain his emotions early on. It's going to be key for him.
Yeah, I think that's a huge key, as you pointed out. A very aggressive Houston Astros ball club. If he can keep those emotions in check, you figure he will rack up some strikeouts. I'm sure he just wants to get that first pitch out of the way. We're going to step away for a moment. When we return here to Minute Maid Park, we'll talk about the Angels' opportunity of picking up yet another road series victory. The Halos have played well out on the road. Prior to coming to Houston, they won the series against Texas, and even to start the year, won the series against the Seattle Mariners. I guess you could look at that as a glass half full going into the homestand starting tomorrow.
No doubt about it, Victor. I think they've played very well on the road so far. They won those games up in Seattle, won the series because they pitched extremely well. They hit very well down in Texas. Done a little bit of both here in Houston trying to win this series. Very good last year as far as being on the road, one of the best in baseball, third best as a matter of fact for the Angels. But they just got to swing the bat, get some early support to Garrett Richards and let him pitch like he has pitched, especially here in Minute Maid Park. He's only allowed one earned run in 15 innings. He's dominant. Also last season, remember he had that big inning where he struck out 3 batters on 9 pitches. Look for that today. Look for the offense to get it going also.
Yeah, let's see if that offense can figure out Scott Feldman and put some runs on the board. Plenty more to come when we return to Minute Maid Park. Oh, that's for sure.
Look at his teammates, how excited they are to see him back on the hill.
No doubt. They are pumped up to see good old number 43 back on the hill.
But before that happens, the Angels will bat. And this is the lineup that Mike Scioscia's running out today at 5-6 on the season. Cole Calhoun will lead things off in right. Mike Trout at center. Albert Pujols at first. Matt Joyce, the cleanup hitter, at left. David Freese at third. Eric Ibar, the shortstop. C.J. Cron at DH. Drew Butera gets a start today behind the plate. It's Johnny Giavotella batting ninth and playing second base as they take on the 11-year big league veteran by the name of Scott Feldman.
Scott Feldman has struggled so far. ERA over 6, fastballs 87-93, cut fastball, curve and split finger fastball. But to be successful against Feldman, look for an elevated fastball. He's given up 4 home runs in 11 2/3 innings pitched, and don't let him dictate the pace, because he does work extremely slow. Step out, be comfortable at the plate.
Check out the Astros defensively before the first pitch is thrown. Grossman, Rasmus, and Stringer in the outfield from left to right. The infield has Valbuena, Lowry, Altuve, and Carter from third to first. And Jason Castro after a night off back behind the plate.
Chris Carter getting the start at first base once again for the Astros. That's his 11th start at first base, is 1 error. Only had 14 starts at first base. All of last year, played a lot at that DH role. I say challenge him if you can. Big target at first to throw across, but force him to field. Maybe a bunt or two.
Feldman's first one today is down and away for ball 1. Cole hitting .259, has a home run, 5 runs batted in, a couple of doubles and a triple. 0 for 3 yesterday. And it was a tough night overall last night offensively for the Angels. They managed just 3 hits in the ball game. Dallas Keuchel in 6 innings allowed 2 of those hits. Pat Neshek allowed 1 hit as 1 inning of relief. 4-0 shutout. Cole in the opening game of the series went 2 for 3. Scored 3 times. He fouls this one back over the screen. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
It's a good 2-0 hack by Cole. Right down the middle of the plate. Feldman knows he has to challenge him with a strike, especially with Mike Trout on deck, who's got real good career numbers against him.
Feldman last year made 4 starts against the Halos, went 1-2 with a 3.13 ERA. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's allowed 4 home runs and 2 starts already this year, after allowing a total of 16 home runs last year. Two. Fouled back. Feldman signing a 3-year deal prior to last season. One-time reliever for the Texas Rangers. Sidewinder.
Remember that. He's got great movement on his fastball, though. When he's on his game, he gets a lot of ground balls out. Ground ball outs, but not elevation. Mention those home runs. That's what happens to him.
Long plate appearance here for Cole Calhoun to start this ball game. Still at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Cole could not lay off the breaking ball. And there's out number 1.
Day key for this game today for the Halos. Kidding. Right out. Mention those home runs that Feldman has allowed. Mike Trout has 2 career home runs against Feldman. Try to elevate that fastball. It flattens out. That's when you can do the damage. Need that home run ball here today.
Fouled back to the right. Career numbers against Scott Feldman, 5 for 14. Mike yesterday 0 for 4. Fouls this one off to the right. It's quickly 0-2. Big game Friday night with a couple of home runs. Oh, 2 on away. Is up and away. 1-2. Feldman last year for Houston, 29 starts, 8-12 record as Pujols waits on deck.
And inside with a fastball.
Jam him. Mike fights and foul. It's 1-2, and you can tell just by between pitches, the tempo, the slow tempo that Scott Feldman works by.
That's why I think it's important, although you're not supposed to necessarily step way out of the batter's box. Step back, step out, force pace the way you want to do as a hitter.
A lot of souvenirs for the folks here. Little League Day. The parade
They're happy.
before the game. Yeah, they are.
This will be his 13th pitch of this inning, and nothing has happened so far.
And it's taken a while for nothing to happen. Two balls, 2 strikes. That was a pitch last year that was something that Mike could not lay off of. More patient last year to get to those counts, but could not lay off those pitches. This year, a little bit more aggressive early on. Break the ball down the line, foul. Sarcina with the hands.
It's play. See how the pitches per plate appearance has gone up. He's more aggressive, as he even did in this at bat on that first pitch, but still found off some tough pitcher's pitches.
Full count now.
It's a good at bat. Was 0-2. Now he's fought back to a full count. A couple breaking balls. That went in the dirt and away. Imagine if you probably get a fastball that'll try to go in or half the plate on it.
Back up the middle, knocked down by Feldman. And he retires Trout for round number 2.
That would have been real interesting because Altuve playing up the middle would have had a backhand that one. The way Trout runs down the line, more likely it's going to be an infield hit. Feldman puts his glove down there, knocks it down, doesn't panic. Throws over to first to get Trout. Feldman is certainly always under control.
So 2 outs, nobody on, and here's Albert. Just off the plate.
It's almost as if Mike Trout walked by Garrett Richards and said, I'll get him for you today. Those two were very, very close even before the game. Trout had his G-Rich shirt, number 43. We saw it last year for the All-Star game.
Ground ball to the right side, gets by Carter. It's a base hit with the overshift on. Albert beats the shift, so it's a 2-out single. Keeps the inning alive for Matt Joyce.
That's good. That's a good swing by Albert.
Joe Smith brought the G-Rich shirt in, and Trout stole it for pregame. I'm sure Joe really appreciates that.
Good swing though, getting back to Albert. Just stayed back on that. He's been trying to pull a lot of outside pitches. Time hit it well the other way.
Joyce will take down and away. Albert's first hit of the series. Multi-hit game Wednesday afternoon in Arlington. Matt hitting 206, 3 doubles, 4 runs batted in. Pinch hit last night in the 9th inning. And striking out. The opening game of the series did have a sac fly. He notched that 4th run batted in.
Shift on for Matt Joyce and fastballs away.
Breaking ball caught the outside corner. At least according to home plate umpire Mike Estabrook.
This is a little bit off the outside corner. Breaking ball, tried to go backdoor, got the call even though it was off the plate.
That's nowhere near the strike zone. And Joyce strikes out swinging on a high fastball, and the Angels are done here at the top of the 1st. But to the bottom of the 1st, Garrett Richards on a big league mound for the first time since August. Astros starting 9 is presented by their first-year manager AT HOU. Astros at 5-6 will have the reigning American League batting champion Jose Altuve leading things off at 2nd. Luis Valbuena at 3rd. George Springer at right. Evan Gattis at DH. Jed Lowry at short. Jason Castro behind a plate. Chris Carter at 1st. And it's Colby Rasmussen center. And Robbie Grossman hit that 3-run home run. As Mike Scioscia called it, the 307-foot fly ball to left that went for a 3-run home run. He will bat 9th and play left field. Taking on Garrett Richards a season ago, cut short, of course, because of that horrific injury. 13-4 with a 2.61 ERA.
Yeah, only 124 hits and 168 2/3 innings pitched. Garrett Richards dominant last year, but the keys for him to be successful today: contain your emotions and throw his slider for strikes. You can throw that slider for a strike, that devastating fastball gets even better.
Altuve hitting .289 with a home run and 4 runs batted in. First one's upstairs. 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Freeze playing even with a bag at 3rd. Chopper to the left side. Really tough play for Ibar. Big hop. Gets rid of it quickly, and they got him. Good safe. Wow. They're saying Albert's foot came off the bag. That's Dana DeMuth, the crew chief.
I was going to say that was a good stretch by Pujols.
We're going to take a look at it. Nice job by Eric Ibar. That ball popped up, and that kind of helped things. Got rid of it quickly.
We're going to check it out right away. It's important. It's early in the game. Altuve's a stolen base threat. You think at home, why are you challenging right away on a hit like that? But with Altuve, it's going to force Garrett Richards to be distracted, throw over a lot of pitches over and throws to first. Altuve gets down the line. But I think the stretch, foot's not on the base.
Not on the base?
No, Alberts is on the base, but the foot by Altuve.
Right. Now, Dana DeMuth said that the foot was not on the base.
Well, from that angle, looks like a toe is still making contact with the base in the stretch.
The signal from DeMuth was safe, and then waved his arms to the right to say that Albert's foot came off the base. But you're right. I think on that replay there, Looked like the toe's still on there.
But I think that stretch by Pujols was extremely important to get this potential out. Real good play by Ibar.
As it stands right now, it's an infield base hit.
And the danger you run into if you're Mike Scioscia, if you lose this challenge, you're out of them till later in the game. Boy, it certainly looked like he had his foot on the base as the baseball's going in his glove.
I mean, the ball in the glove clearly beats Altuve to the bag. And it looks like, unless they find some other angle, that you see a separation between the foot and the base with the ball in the glove.
But what we've seen, though, when it's been a long review, there's nothing conclusive to change the call.
I mean, that's as conclusive as it comes, though. The fact that he's out.
Yeah, you would think. The Angels have not been successful in any of their challenges so far. Ones that they thought for sure they were right on.
I mean, really, what they should be reviewing is safer out. It doesn't, they're not arguing whether or not the foot is off the bag. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, the call on the field is safe.
Yep.
The Angels say he was out.
And ball in the glove, and he's not even down on the base yet at that point. You would think it's fairly easy.
Looks like they've come to a determination here. And they're saying safe. Wow. The call stands, so there's not enough evidence to overturn it. And I guess it goes to, it's point 1, he's safe, and point 1A is the claim is that the foot was off the bag. So there's not enough evidence to show that the foot is on the bag. So it's an infield base hit. Valbuena looks at a strike.
Head of the count, you may have an opportunity to put a pitch out on now. Altuve generally likes to try to go early in the count.
One ball, one strike. I'm still trying to wrap my hands around this whole replay situation. He was clearly out. The ball beat him. Valbuena cuts through the fastball 1-2. The only thing I can think of is that in New York they're looking for evidence to say that the foot was on the bag, because Dana DeMuth said it was off the bag. And the angles we saw seemed to have the foot on the bag. I mean, it didn't look like it was.
Well, it was almost very similar to that play early in the year when Kansas City was in town, tagged by Ibar on the back of the jersey. You could see the jersey moving, but there wasn't enough evidence.
Altuve takes off. Gutierrez throw to second is in time.
Wow, what a throw!
Yeah,
Gutierrez very, very quick on his catch and throw. His transfer exceptionally quick. That was a high off-speed pitch. Altuve looking back, but he's out by quite a bit. That doesn't happen often. He had been successful in all 4 attempts, but he's out by a lot. Great throw by Butera.
First caught stealing for the Astros this year. 2-2. Valbuena, they wanted to peel. Didn't go. Just got a piece of it.
Good to see velocity so far for Richards. 95, that one at 96. A number of people have asked, even on Twitter, what kind of pitch count will you see from Richards today? I asked that exact question Mike Scioscia before the game, and he said basically he's been over the 100-pitch mark already. We're not going to let him go 110, 115, but that 100 mark for sure.
And there is ball 4. Trying to hit a spot on the outside corner. Valbuena over at first with 1 down. It's George Springer coming up. Springer homered for the first time this year. Did that last night. C.J. Wilson gave the Astros a 1-0 lead in the 6th. 6 for 40 now.
Good boy, Georgie. Come on, George.
Just on a breaking ball.
Talked about that being an important pitch for him to be able to throw his slider for a strike, especially early on, and then you'll get the hitters to expand their zone and swing at that slider out of the strike zone.
2-0.
Garrett looking into the dugout. Somebody tell him you're getting a little bit too quick. Front shoulders opening up. So a little more compact, especially with his slider.
Two balls and 1 strike. You get emails after replays, and that play at first base, what they're saying is that the call in the field by the first base umpire was safe off the bag, and while the replay official determined that the ball touched the interior of the glove prior to the running touching first, he could not definitively determine whether the first baseman was in contact with the base when he received the ball. So you're essentially just taking the word of the guy at first base. And isn't that the point of having replay? I mean, if the replay shows that the foot appears to be in contact with the base, shouldn't that supersede what happens on the field?
You would think so.
Tapper toward third. Freeze comes in. Bobbles it. Got to hurry now. Forget it. That little bobble with the speed of Springer. And I'm sure that'll be called an infield base hit.
It's a real good pitch for Richards.
They're calling it an error.
Able to field it cleanly, then to throw off the base. At that point, Springer runs well.
Yeah, he does.
A lot of action already for Garrett on the mound. An infield hit, a walk. And Altuve thrown out trying to steal a base, and now an error. You talked about controlling emotions early on. You have that adrenaline going your first start out in quite a while, since back in August at the major league level.
Gaddis takes a breaking ball downstairs. He's the DH, hitting 125 with a home run, a double, 1 RBI. Error by Freeze, the second of the season for him, 7th for the Angels.
Trying to gather himself. All you want if you're Mike Butcher and Mike Scioscia is for Garrett just to get through this inning, and then he can build momentum. That first inning is always difficult when you're making a comeback.
Three balls, no strikes. And they're loaded up. The Butcher's coming out to pay a visit here. And the one guy who was being very careful with was Gaddis. Bases are loaded down to face Jed Lowry.
The conversation is basically go out there and relax, Garrett, at this point. Game is speeding up for him just a tad. He's got to slow down, both with the mind and his mechanics. Pretty fluid mechanics, but the front shoulder just opening up enough. Very difficult to maintain that same arm slot to be consistent in the strike zone. Velocity's there, 95, 96. Now a difficult task. He's facing a patient hitter. Not many patient hitters generally in this lineup for the Astros, but Lowry's certainly one of them.
Three home runs, 5 runs batted in for Lowry. No place to put him here. And the first one's inside.
That's all over the strike zone. That's a strike.
One ball, one strike. Strike zones all weekend long have been brutal this week, this series. Not one side or the other. I mean, it's universally bad. A lot of hitters complaining. Was it 19 strikeouts yesterday combined?
They've been over 20, 23, 24.
Yeah, 24, my bad. One.
Man, that's in the strike zone. Drew Gutierrez setting up away. That's getting in the strike zone. There's 3 pitches that were strikes in this sequence. It's just 2-seam fastball. It's got a lot of the plate again. Upper part of the strike zone. But it's difficult for an umpire to call when you have movement with your catcher, though.
3 balls and a strike. The question is, how much did Gutierrez get a chance to catch Garrett Richards in spring training as he was working his way back?
And he's telling him right there, just frame it, give him a target. At this point, even middle part of the plate.
Full count.
That's a great target by Gutierrez. He's shaking his head, giving him a target, showed him it again, and that was exactly where Richards delivered the baseball. Fouled away on a fastball count late.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Lowry. 2 down.
Always felt the most difficult out in these situations is that third out. You can have the adrenaline, make a perfect pitch to get the second, keep focused, next batter. But what a fastball by him. Challenge him. Gutierrez pumped up for him. Good targets. Gutierrez looked over at Mike Scioscia, one of the best defensive catchers the game has ever seen. Said, give him a target. He has so the last couple of pitches.
Jason Castro, the catcher, up. Base is still loaded. 2 outs. And there's a strike. .269 batting average for Castro. Had the night off last night. Hank Conger got the start behind the plate.
Scared. When you step off like that, you want to switch up the signs and go with a different pitch.
Oh, 2.
I think they were wanting to throw a slider down and in, and Garrett wanted to come back with a fastball. That one at 96 with movement. It's not easy when you haven't caught a guy a whole lot in your career. With that movement, he has sink and cut action on a 95, 96 mile-an-hour fastball.
Oh, 2 on the way. pulled over to first base. Should do it.
Great job.
Waves off Richards, and Garrett works out of a bases-loaded jam.
Well, unbelievable to be able to have that composure. Your first game back. Get through the inning. No damage.
On his face. It's out of a bases loaded 1-out situation. No damage.
He's basically could breathe right now. It certainly was an eventful first inning for him. A little bit of everything.
Get it out of the way early.
Well, I'll tell you what, credit Drew Butera, able to come back in that last couple of batters, giving him that good target to throw to.
Halos here in the second. We'll have Freeze, Ibar, and Crone up. Feldman struck out 2 and allowed a base hit. First inning. The pitch was off the plate, but it's a called strike. Freeze hitting .209, 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in. Ground ball to short. Lowry has it.
That was pretty interesting to watch Butera talking to Iannetta in between innings. And you can see it with like his moving his glove. He's like some serious gas he throws up there with movement. And that's something we'll keep an eye on too as the game progresses. 21 pitched at 95 or better. In that bottom of the first for Richards. See if he can maintain the velocity.
Can't even sit down.
No. You're talking about controlling emotions. Generally with starting pitchers, nobody even talks to you in the dugout, generally. Unless you got a lot of extra energy working right now like Garrett has today. So he figures he better talk to somebody, otherwise he's going to be talking to himself.
It makes sense for him to have that energy going right now. The road back from that horrific injury at Fenway Park. You know, you get tired. I could imagine of just the throwing program, flat ground. Then you work to 60 feet, 90 feet, then get on a mound. And it's like it's redundant. It's mundane. You just want to get into live action.
And the big thing is you're tired of answering questions about it. Oh, he made it to the bench to sit down. It's almost like I might need a new hat, might need a new t-shirt, might need a new uniform.
Working up the Gooby ladder.
No, there's no doubt. I'm very proud of him right now.
Nice effort there by Ibar to think about pulling a bunt down the first base line, but it rolls foul. Eric off to a slow start, a 179 batting average, went 0 for 4 yesterday. A couple of runs batted in. Two. Foul out of play.
That's a much better swing. Rockaroo once told me that whenever he would, and it didn't happen often for him, got into a slump hitting, he liked to try to bunt because it allows you as a hitter with your eyes to track the baseball. Your swing becomes more level with the bunt attempt, and you can see that very next pitch, a more level swing for Ibar. And track that breaking ball out of the strike zone. Last few games, he's been swinging at that one.
Full count. Fouled off the left. So reset and do it again. TJ Crone on deck. A couple of the Angels hitters had extra hitting before the game today. Optional. Crone was out there. This one hit sharply, but right to Altuve at second. 2 down.
Not a bad idea for Mike Scioscia to have CJ Crow in the lineup. Right-handed batters this year against Feldman. 467 batting average with 3 home runs.
TJ will look at the strike. Serving as a DH tonight. 1 for 3 game yesterday. Double. His first extra base hit of the season. Breaking ball. Hooked foul. Just out in front. And Feldman, velocity wise, is he's not overpowering. He had one time he run it up there at 94, 95 with some sink and kind of keep hitters off balance, but he's living in the 90s, low 90s at best. Ground ball to the left side. The overshift is on. Altuve will take it. Low throw, dug out by Carter, and they get Crone as the Angels go down in order. We'll head to the bottom of the second with no score here in Houston.
Got himself under control. Good fastball. Swing and miss against Jed Lowry. Then a hard slider down and in. It's catch the ground ball. Albert able to field it. Garrett Richards over the first base to be there just in case. And that smile, he got through that bottom of the first. Quite a few pitches, but some solid pitches to get through that inning.
They'll face the bottom third of the order here in the second. Carter, Rasmussen, Grossman. 27 pitches thrown by Garrett in that first, but not helped out. Inconsistent strike zone and defense. Bad call at first. Breaking ball, first strike. There's Carter, the first baseman, hitting .083.
This first curveball he has thrown in this game. That one at 85.
Left side, that is Giavotella in the overshift. High throw and the tag on the back, and they got it. They're saying that the ball dropped as he transferred the ball from glove to hand. Now A.J. Hinch is going to go out. Carter didn't argue much. He peeled off to the right and went right into the dugout.
A high throw from Giavotella. Dropped his elbow. Tag applied, and then the transfer getting out of the glove.
So 1 out. That's a 4-3 put out.
A little different throw for Giavotella, playing over in that shortstop side of the infield. Now playing in the outfield grass.
Rasmus hitting .217, a home run and 2 runs batted in. Center field today with Jake Marisnick getting the night off.
That's the difficulties as far as an infielder now with the shifts being on. You have Giavotella playing almost up the middle of the shortstop side, now playing in the outfield back at the second base position. Baseball will be different if it's hit to him. That outfield grass and will be on the dirt. Different throw, different angle. I think you live there all day with that fastball. Richards against Rasmus. He's looking inner half against you.
Pujols waves off Richards. 2 down. Hey folks, the Angels host the A's on Tuesday at 7:05. Fans in attendance will receive a beanie courtesy of the San Diego Zoo Safari Park while supplies last. Purchase your tickets today at the Angels Stadium ticket office or online at angels.com. Saw as Richards got over towards first base. Good look at the beanie. But you see him. I'm sure it's
in your mind.
Always going to be in the back of your mind there. As you slow down, you get waved off by the first baseman, and you're slowing down there by the dirt.
Albert's been taking that himself a number of times already in this game. A lot of times Albert will feed the pitcher, lead him towards the base. I think it's a wise decision by Pujols at this point, take it himself. That was a serious curveball. Good pitch. Stop right at the base. Yeah, there's no doubt. He can say he's not thinking about it, but it's human nature. Tell you what, that pitch before, maybe it was just a little bit out of the strike zone. This curveball at 77, that could be a huge pitch for Richards as he progresses in his career. Then you have that differential in speeds. Fastball's 96, slider 87, 88, but that curveball at 77.
A little flare out to shallow left eye bar, waving off Joyce. And that'll end the inning. An easy 1-2-3. Second inning for Garrett Richards. We'll head to the third, still scoreless.
last night by Houston against the Angels. Broke a streak of 126 straight road games in which they scored at least one run. It's the longest streak in Angel history. Now the Royals right now have the longest current streak at 37 games. I'll put in perspective how impressive the Angels have been as far as scoring runs on the road.
Was not the case last night, that's for sure. Garrett Richards has himself a 1-2-3 second inning. Drew Butera leading things off here against Scott Feldman. Takes downstairs. Butera, Giavatelli, and Calhoun. 8-9-1 for the Angels. Butera gets his start today. Chris Iannetta caught last night. First two games of the series, to be exact. Drew 1 for 3. It's Butera's second start. Pulls this one foul. He has seen some action, whether it be as a defensive replacement over at first base on games that have gotten out of hand.
Impressive throw, though, in the first inning. Throw out Altuve by a lot. And that was an off-speed pitch. Great transfer.
It's went out to left field, and that'll get down for a base hit. Leadoff single, second hit allowed by Feldman.
Nice at bat, got himself in a good fastball count, got one. That ball well to left field. That's your job as a hitter. Get yourself into a count where you can look for a certain pitch, preferably a fastball. Mike Scioscia said before the game today in the dugout that because the offense hasn't been as consistent as he'd like, he's going to put more action plays on. Especially with a sinker ball pitcher and Feldman on the mound, not particularly quick to the plate, no career pickoffs. You can put a hit and run on.
Good lead for Butera at first base. Giavatelli looks at a strike. Johnny hitting .313, a couple of doubles. 3 runs batted in. 1 for 2 last night. Walk in the double. Left center field is where he shot that 2-base hit. Got a good crowd here today. Just over 28,000 last night. Surprised to see the roof closed today. Hit run is on. It's a swing and a miss. Butera loses it. Gets cut down. 1 down.
Just like we suspected, some hit and runs being put on. Well off the plate, very difficult to make contact. Butera's going to be out by a lot, and he was.
One ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2 now. 2 strikeouts, no walks, 2 hits allowed for Feldman. Cole Calhoun is on deck. Full count.
It's the 3rd full count already in the game for Feldman.
Here's the payoff. Back up the middle. Altuve to the backhand. Not going to have a play. And now it goes an infield base hit. Feldman with the failed attempt at the kick save.
Especially as a pitcher, you look back where your middle infielders are going to be anyhow. You kick that baseball to be away from your defense. Or better yet, use your glove instead of the foot. I still won't stop running against Feldman. Last year, he gave up 35 stolen bases in 42 attempts. And I mentioned, not one career pickoff at all at the major league level.
Little flare out to right center. That'll fall in for a base hit. Stopping at second is Giavotella. Springer was playing shallow. So 2 on and 1 out. Yeah, to your point, Feldman led the American League in stolen bases allowed by a pitcher. It's kind of like having a right-handed version of John Lester, who doesn't throw to first, or when he does, not very good at it.
And the reason why Butera is thrown out there is because a hit and run, you're making sure you're looking back, there's contact. If it's a straight steal, it's different. See if Trout can provide some offense for his good buddy, Garrett Richards.
Trout bounced one back to the mound in the first, so he's 0 for 1. Good speed on the bases with Giavotella at second, Calhoun at first. That is lined to center field. It's going to hang up, however. Rasmus makes the catch, 2 down.
That's twice now in this game against Feldman. Trout aggressive on the first pitch. He crushed that one, but right at Rasmussen center. It's a good swing, using a big part of the field. Rasmus plays in extremely shallow center field.
Even if he was playing a deep center field, that ball would have been lined to him. He just had to wait a little bit longer. It was going to get to him one way or the other. That ball was squared up.
And it was going to feel very uncomfortable in the glove once he caught it.
So 2 outs, and here's Albert, who singled to right in the first inning. Next pitch for Feldman will be his 50th. He'll play here in the third. Two balls, no strikes.
You're right in line with it, man.
50 pitches thrown by Feldman in this game. 22 first inning. A whole lot of action in that first inning. 13, now 15 already here in the third with some stress.
.2-0 fastball right down the pipe, and it's 2-1. All 3 outfielders play somewhat shallow for Houston. Even Marisnik is out there in center. He plays shallow. Tapper over the mound. Altuve near the bag. They'll go to first. And the Angels leave a man in scoring position. We will head to the bottom of the third, but no score. They will head home to kick off a 7-game homestand, 4 against Oakland and 3 against Texas. Wednesday's game will be on KCOP My 13. Angels still looking for that first home win of the season. They got swept by the Royals.
Maybe tomorrow night, Star Wars night.
Yeah,
that could be the key.
There's
the power maybe with us.
Yeah,
looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
The dark side.
God.
Garrett Richards had himself a 1-2-3 second, and here in the third, he'll face Altuve, Valbuena, and Springer. That's 1, 2, and 3. One strikeout, 2 walks for Garrett. First one up and in. Altuve credited with an infield base hit his first time up. 2 balls, no strikes. So Pujols apparently had his foot off the bag, at least according to first base umpire Dana DeMuth. Call was not overturned. So Altuve 1 for 1.
Houston taking a lot more pitches against Richards than we've seen in the past. Part of it could be they want to get that pitch count up as much as possible. Not wanting to deal with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
3 balls and a strike. Full count.
Great spot at the knees. Challenge him on a 3-1 fastball.
Halos with 4 hits, the Astros with 1. Another 3-2. Ground ball toward the hole. This one gets by Ibar. A clean single to left to lead off this 3rd inning.
Altuve now 8 for 21 in his career versus Richards.
Altuve was thrown out trying to steal in the 1st inning. First time he's been caught stealing this year. Valbuena, no official AB. He walked in the 1st. Skies one out toward left field. This will move Joyce back to the wall, and that is gone. A 2-run home run into the Crawford boxes. And it's 2-0 Houston. Doesn't take much here in left field.
Surprised the left-handed batters don't take that approach more often in his ballpark. Similar to what you see in Fenway Park. Mo Vaughn over the years when he was a Red Sox was very special at hitting at Fenway Park, just utilizing that short porch, just like here at Minute Maid. Pitch was down, just went with the pitch. And anything hit up in the air to that part of the field, there's stress if you're on the mound.
Valbuena's 3rd home run of the season. Now with 4 RBIs, as Springer takes a pitch that apparently was low.
It's the 15th home run this year for the Astros. They've scored 32 runs, so their runs are being scored with the long ball.
Yeah, they're last in the league in runs scored, the 2nd to last in batting average.
That's another good pitch in the lower part of the strike zone, not getting the call. It's twice in this at bat.
Yeah.
50 pitches, 25 out of the zone, 25 in the zone.
And there's a walk. That's the 3rd one issued by Garrett. 2 of the pitches, and like you pointed out, that never strikes. Not called. So nobody out. Man at first. Evan Gattis coming up. He drew a walk himself in the first.
Sprinkle will run also. He's got 2 stolen bases this season.
Takes off. Pitches low, and Buterra can't handle the transfer, so it's a stolen base.
Tried to be quick, especially a breaking ball in the dirt. Had a decent jump. I think they have him if the transfer is quick, but it's a tough catch and throw when the ball's in dirt for Buterra.
One and one. Back-to-back breaking balls to Gattis. 2-run home run by Luis Valbuena after the base hit by Altuve. Houston early 2-0 lead.
And talked about that feel for a slider to be able to throw it for a strike. Hasn't been as consistent as he wants. And that's a pitch. The more you throw, the better you're going to have a feel for it.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Just got a piece of it. Another good breaking ball. Count remains at 2-2. Just out on the road this year, 5-3. Mentioned the 0-3 record at home. 5-3 so far against the West. Down goes Gattis, 1 away.
That was a fastball at the knees by a fastball hitter. Gattis unable to make contact on this good fastball from Richards at 95.
It's good old country hardball right there. Lowry struck out with the bases loaded in the first. 0 for 1. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. Oh, 2.
See the consistent velocity throughout this game, and in the differential. That's fastball at 97, slowest curveball at 77. See why as a hitter it's so difficult to time Richards, especially when he can throw his curveball in there at 77. He's thrown 60 pitches in this game. 35 of them have been 95 or better in this game. Consistent velocity, that's what you're looking for from Richards in his first start back.
That'll even up the count. Two nothing Houston here, the third. Springer, the walk that stole second. He's in scoring position. Just got a piece of it off Buterra. Astros going the veteran route, signing Lowry in the offseason to play shortstop. Seen at VR. Marwin Gonzalez played a lot of shortstop over the last couple of seasons here in Houston. Gonzalez, 19 appearance. Pulled over to first. Pujols will take it himself. 2 down. Springer advances to third.
Hey folks, the Angels will host the Texas Rangers next Friday at 7:05, and fans in attendance will receive an MVP blanket courtesy of Yokohama Tire while supplies last. Get your tickets online at angels.com or at the stadium ticket office. 2 outs and a man in third. Jason Castro coming up.
For that on-speed pitch, and that's the pitch that got him to ground out with a base loaded in the first inning.
For that better feel for a slider, a little more consistent this inning from Richards.
Late on that one. Routine fly ball at most ballparks, going for a 2-run home run here in the third inning. That was Luis Valbuena out to left field. 2-run shot. This one's sky to left. Joyce back a couple of steps. He's underneath it, and that'll end it. But a 2-run home run by Valbuena's third of the year gives the Astros a 2-0 lead as we head to the fourth. That is the 41st President of the United States, George Herbert Walker Bush, in attendance down by the Astros dugout. Always great to see him. Got a nice standing ovation. The Astros faithful here at Minute Maid Park. Big baseball fan. Matt Joyce looks at a strike. Joyce struck out swinging in the first. He was 0 for 1.
staying away against him. It's that success Feldman has against Matt Joyce. It's 1 for 9 in his career, staying away. Change up, fastball.
One ball, 2 strikes. And they play the overshift on Joyce because he is pretty much a dead pull hitter. But everyone, for the most part, continues to pitch him away. It's been an issue for him. Down it in, 2-2 now.
Well, he tried to turn into that pitch. He was willing to take that pitch off the body to be at first base behind an account.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yes,
things are going not so good for you.
Yeah, helps out that on base percentage.
Yeah,
we could say that from up here.
Absolutely,
comfortably.
You know why? Because we can.
Because we can.
Boy, Feldman would have made Dean Smith very proud. He will four-corner you on that mound.
Yeah, he would have been great as far as holding that basketball and wasting time before the shot was made.
Full count.
As a hitter, just step out. Don't let him dictate the pace.
Joyce skies one out towards center. Rasmus comes in. 1 down.
4th full count. Feldman in this game.
And he's not walked a man. Here's Freese, who grounded out to short his first time up. Some of the other scores around the American League. Oakland leading Kansas City 1-0.
Good friends getting together again, Oakland and Kansas City.
Scott Kazmir drilling Lorenzo Cain in the first inning. Both benches were worn, and apparently Ned Yost and Dave Island, the pitching coach for Kansas City, didn't like that. So they got ejected.
It's coming after somewhat of a bench clearing brawl yesterday's game.
Yeah.
Brett Laurie was hit after the night before with the takeout of Escobar at second base. Clean takeout.
And I guess I could understand Ned Yost's point. 0-2 with Freese is upstairs, 1-2, and that Ventura hits Brett Laurie yesterday, automatically tossed. People don't want to, the umpires don't want anything to escalate, so automatically gets tossed. But Kazmir hits Cain today, and nothing happens except both benches get worn as Freese singles out to left field. So, and it doesn't give really Danny Duffy an opportunity to quote unquote retaliate or even the score and then call it a day. Because at the end of the day, and I know a lot of folks don't like the whole hitting of batters, and I guess if you're going to do it, you've got to make sure it's below the shoulders. But if bench is clear, when was the last time there was an actual fight in a baseball game?
It's been a long time.
A lot of barking dogs.
Yeah. A lot of exercise for the guys in the bullpen to work their way out to the field.
Who all look at each other and go, seriously? And then the door opens, they got to run out there. Ibar looks at a strike. Now back when you played, even when you played, I mean, there was some good. Yeah, there were some good fights.
Yeah. We had our annual fight every time we went into Cleveland. At least one, if not all 3 games, 1 series. And we knew each other. We're friends with each other, each team, but for some reason in that game didn't work out that way.
1 ball, 1 strike on there. 0 for 1 with a ground out.
But he hit that last one well, though. Tracked some pitches, attempted to bunt in his last at bat. All of a sudden his eyes are attracting, getting right to the baseball, more level swing.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Fortunate enough for Feldman, it looked like it hit Esterbrook in the leg. Otherwise, it's all the way back to the backstop. Castro's leg and then back on the foot. The home plate umpire.
Always tough for a base runner at second or first base. I mean, unless you're a speedster and you're going immediately and ball in the dirt. If you don't see that white, the baseball past the catcher or the umpire to take off for the extra base, his eyeball skies a foul and out of play.
Unless you could see that some distance away, there's no reason to take a chance.
Called strike 3 on the outside corner, 2 outs.
One of those off the plate backdoor breaking balls. Castro setting up away. That's off the plate. It's an unhittable pitch and for a batter.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up on that thinking that's off the plate. You're at the mercy of the umpire.
Speaking of hitting guys, I remember Feldman starting one with the Angels in Arlington, hitting Adam Kennedy. But that was there was a rift going on that started actually in Anaheim.
Wasn't that when Vlad got hit a couple times?
Yeah, but no, it was actually I'm trying to think who the catcher was at the time. Gerald Laird in a game. Got into, said something to Kennedy, if I remember correctly. And I think Adam took exception to it. And then the next day at batting practice, Angels were hitting, Rangers were stretching. And AK came over and started a little melee right during batting practice by the visiting dugout. And then back in Texas, it kind of escalated again.
It's the old fight at the old skate around in hockey.
Yeah.
That way you don't have any refs to break it up.
That doesn't happen too often.
No.
During BP.
No, never. Usually guys are talking to each other at that point.
I remember Brian Jordan was with the Rangers at that time. He tried to diffuse it.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, well, he would be the guy to diffuse it.
Yes.
Former football player.
It's like having Bo Jackson as a peacemaker in a fight. You're always happy about that.
Two-one pitch. Crone fouls this one back.
If he's staying on that ball right there, he just pulled off it. That's a pitch. And CJ Crone is right. That ball's gone. That was right over the middle of the plate. You can't have a hanging break ball any better, but it's pulled off it. That's right down the heart of the plate. If he stays back, see the shoulders dipping, the back shoulder, front shoulder lifting up. If he stays compact, that's a pitch he crushes.
TJ grounded out in the second. 2-0 Houston here in the fourth.
Another full count.
Best time all-time story as far as the fighting thing. Hal McRae, he used to go in hard at second base all the time. The Royals and the Yankees back then used to just get at it. During batting practice, McRae's taking BP, and Cliff Johnson kept yelling at him, wanted to fight him downstairs. Hal finished his round, came out of the cage and said, "Cliff, I don't fight reserves." This one hammered to left toward the wall and gone. A big fly for CJ Crone. First of the year, ties this game up at 2.
Well, he's fortunate enough to get that breaking ball back, and this time he didn't miss it. It's good to see CJ Crone, home run, maybe get him hot now. 2-run shot, tying it up. Breaking ball was down, but right in the middle of the plate. Just like that hanging break ball, the one he just missed earlier in the at-bat. 5th home run allowed this season by Feldman. The 4th by right-handed batters. That got out quickly. A little sting on the hand of the fan out there.
Not a bad pitch by Feldman. And that's just pure strength on the part of Crone to go down there and hook that ball into left.
I think because that earlier pitch, that break ball was similar location as far as middle. That was up, that was down, and this time he stayed back long enough, was able to track it better.
Yeah, he got one. Remember that first plate appearance that he hooked foul out in front. Butera 1 for 1 with a single.
A lot of pitches thrown already by Feldman. 76 pitches. We're in the 4th inning.
You mentioned all the full counts, still not walking anybody. Butera lifts one out to shallow center. Rasmus comes in. That'll do it for the Angels, but C.J. Crone with one swing of the bat picks up his first home run of the season. More importantly, ties the score 2.
Boy, nice swing on this breaker ball down, stayed back, and a line drive home run ties it up.
Enjoy better. Call 1-855-1-TWC. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers.
Boy, you couldn't have asked for a more perfect day for baseball here, but the roof unfortunately is closed. Only supposed to be in the mid-80s today. Not a cloud in the sky, especially after the downpours we saw here this weekend.
Still said there may be some rain coming in around 3:30. Maybe. It'd be nice just to see the sky here.
Can't they open it halfway?
Yeah, please.
Garrett Richards in a 2-2 game, back to work here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 66 pitches thrown by the right hand. This one's hit to Johnny Giavitello in the overshift. 1-away.
Both times Carter's hit the ball to Giavitello in that spot.
But Garrett could use a quick inning. Had a very quick one in the second.
His pitch count going up there quickly. Probably be around anywhere with 100 to 105 pitch limit, depending how well he's throwing.
Colby Rasmus grounded out his first time up. Did not get the start last night as that pitch in the strike zone, not called a strike. The inconsistent zone continues. Pulled over to first. And this time Albert obliging. He says, seen Garrett run over there and he's called him off. Let me just give you one.
He goes, okay, you got plenty of time to be in position to get that first one out of the way. He did a couple of them already in his minor league assignments, and a smile I'll tell you what, he is well loved by his teammates. They enjoy having him back. Albert, knowing this time, so plenty of time to feed him, get that out of the way. Boy, Albert is smart too. He just knows the game so well. Knows a play where he's allowed his pitcher to get comfortable doing it.
There you go. There's your quick inning. Grossman popping it up to Eric Ibar. And that'll do it. A shutdown inning for Garrett Richards. 4 in the books. We're still tied at 2. The 2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimate 31 highway miles per gallon. Visit Jeep.com for more information. And by AT & T Uverse. More live TV channels on the go than cable. Tied at 2 here in the top of the 5th inning. Halos will send up 9-1-2. Giavotella, Calhoun, and Trout to face Scott Feldman. Real quick 4th inning for Richards.
He needed that bad.
Yeah. Completed his first 3-1 play at first base. Another check mark. Yes. Milestone.
Yep.
First one downstairs. Giavotella with a single in the 3rd. 1-1. This one down the line, slicing out of play.
A lot of foul balls hitting the stand, especially early in this game.
That started off with Calhoun and Trout. First 2 batters of the game, providing souvenirs for everybody. Breaking ball softly rolled to Valbuena at 3rd base. 1 away. Hey, tonight the LA Clippers host the defending NBA champion San Antonio Spurs at Staples Center. Game 1 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Complete coverage begins tonight at 7 p.m. The Clippers live pregame show only on Prime Tickets.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Jamal Crawford, I think, is the key for the Clippers. You're going to have CP3 and Blake Griffin do their thing, but Crawford is deadly down towards the end of the game with his 3-point shot. Also, DeAndre Jordan has to make some free throws.
Oh, the dreaded free throws.
Going to have to. Popovich likes to play that game where he'll foul him at all parts of the game against him. So he's going to have to make them.
Hackathon. It's like Hack a Dwight.
Or Hack a Shaq or Hack a DJ.
Cole 1 for 2 at the base hit. Ahead of the count of 2 balls and no strikes. 83rd pitch of the afternoon for Scott Feldman. 3 strikeouts, no walks, 6 hits allowed.
Big damage pitch right here for Cole. 2-0, looking for a fastball.
He got it. Lifts it out to left. Robbie Grossman is there. 2 down. The base is clear for Trout. Mike 0 for 2, a bouncer back to the mound and a line out to Rasmus in center. Fastball away for a strike.
It's the first time in this game where Trout has not swung at the first pitch against Feldman.
It's up to count. Kalo's 2 runs, 6 hits, an error, and they've left 3 on. Houston 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 4 men left on base.
He was on that one. High fastball right down the heart of the plate.
What's that feeling as a pitcher when you see a pitch like that? Because you almost know it as the ball leaves your fingertips that it's not where you want it.
Well, the only thing I'm always thinking of is I hope he hits that at the third baseman, not right back at me. Because I'm not getting out of the way.
Good to go. 2-2. I guess that's being a good teammate.
Yeah.
Hit it to the better fielder.
Yeah, no doubt. Boy, Greg Pryor was a third baseman sometimes with filling for George Brett. And Dave Winfield hit a rocket at him when he was playing somewhat in. First of all, I said, what are you thinking about anyhow? Let him bunt if he wants. Goes, hey, keep it to some other part of the field one time.
On AstroTurf, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he could hit a vicious shot, Dave Winfield could.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. And I just looked at him and said, hey, better you than me.
Two. Full count now. Breaking ball away.
Another full count for Feldman. 90 pitches thrown now for Feldman. 22 in the first, 25 in the fourth.
Payoff, fouled off to the right.
Trouty upset with himself. That's a pitch he's going to crush to right center field. Very similar to the pitch like balls in the first game he hit out for a 3-run home run. The right center was down and away.
This one lifted out toward right center field. It's playable for Springer. He'll make the grab, and the Angels go down in order. We hit to the bottom of 5th, tied at 2.
A description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Angels.
Top of the order coming up to face Garrett Richards here in a 2-2 game in the fifth. Altuve, Valbuena, and Springer. Astros second baseman 2 for 2. 2 singles. He'll look at his strike. This one flared out towards center. Trout comes in. He'll put it away. He's out number 1.
Good jump, closing speed, gets the all-important first out, especially when that out is Altuve. Keep that speed off the bases. Got him to swing at that breaking ball because he threw the first pitch. He break the ball for a strike. He hasn't been able to do that against Altuve the first couple at bats.
Valbuena with a home run the opposite way in the third inning, at that point giving Astros a 2-0 lead. TJ Crone tying things up with a 2-run shot himself in the fourth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Part of the Dexter Fowler trade with the Cubs. 1-2. Did not go. Two strikeouts, 3 walks. 3 hits allowed for Garrett Richards. 76 pitches so far. So Garrett stumbled and
tried to pull that fastball to make sure it was on the inner half. Fell over towards the first base side of the mound. He really flew on that pitch. Hasn't done that a whole lot. In my conversations I've had with Garrett since coming back, he said his mechanics have been great. Very still as far as his landing foot.
Ground ball. Giavotella to his left. 2 down. Good breaking ball from Garrett. Hey folks, you can take part in the Junior Angels Care Kits donation program. This initiative will provide Junior Angels Kids Club kits to patients of local children's hospitals during player visits throughout the season. More info on to donate, just log on at angels.com/juniorangels. 7 in a row retired. Check that, 8 in a row retired by Garrett since the walk to this man, Springer, in the third inning.
Well, you just knew he was going to be up there hacking, hoping for something on the inner half. Instead, he got a fastball away.
Oh, 2. He hacks early in the count.
Yeah,
good off-speed stuff would be deadly against him.
If I'm Garrett, I'm even bouncing this. I'm throwing something breaking, and it's got to be down and away.
Fastball away there.
Late on it, but still he can put that one in play. He's not going to put in play his hard slider down and away right now. See, I always thought when I threw a baseball in this situation that the hitter's thinking, well, I want a little better seams and I'm going to throw a slider. You can really throw off a hitter right now. He's got to be thinking breaking ball.
Oh, when you ask for a new baseball?
New baseball, because you want the seams to be good for a slider.
Toward the middle. Ibar to his left, but you're not going to get Springer there. So it's a 2-out infield base hit.
So that was a slider, and he was looking for that pitch. Didn't hit it necessarily well, but it was located well, so he was looking down and away. That's why there's times where, even though I would like to have the better seams for a slider at times, I still keep the same baseball and just hope that the grip was good enough to execute my pitch.
Springer stole a base in the third inning. He'll be going first pitch here.
Hesitant going back. Didn't think he was making the throw over. Springer looked like.
Gaddis with a walk and a strikeout, so that puts him at 0 for 1.
You would think he's going on this pitch. With a 1-0 count, you've taken away the thought process of a pitch out.
2 balls, no strikes. Trying to get too quick. Worried about Springer.
2 outs. Worry about the hitter. And you want to give your catcher a chance. Just hold the ball. Don't worry about being quicker as far as a slide step. Which when you do throw a slide step, it's that quick motion towards home. You don't have your regular leg kick. You can make a mistake with that.
3-0. Snap throw to first. Springer gets back.
And middle secondary lead with a quick throw from Butero. Almost got him.
And a 4-pitch walk.
I think that strictly was a result in trying to be quicker to the plate. Because he had been consistent throwing strikes, some quick outs. Got distracted by that speed. A Springer at first base who had a stolen base back in the third.
Butcher out for his second appearance of the ball game. Jet Lowry coming up. He's 0 for 2. Strikeout and ground out. Here's the pitch totals for Garrett. A 4-pitch 4th inning.
Tough first and third, both 27 pitches thrown in those innings.
Sanford and Son theme song being played here. What Bush is out on the mound. Springer at second, Gaddis at first. Garrett was well on his way to another quick inning. Springer in the hole there. Eventually got an infield base hit. Good off speed.
Especially for a guy that generally is patient. He was guessing fastball first pitch instead, got a break ball from Richards. A lot of times when the pitching coach comes out, you will get first pitch fastball. A lot of times as a hitter, the pitching coach comes out, you just walk the guy on 4 pitches. Usually a pitcher goes, well, let's go challenge him, throw a fastball, get ahead of the count. Well, a lot of times hitters are thinking that same way. Sort of looking first pitch fastball. But if you're wise and you're comfortable, throw a breaking ball first pitch. You'll get a swing at it.
Lowry swings and misses. Buter has the ball get away from him, throws to first, and the ball hits Lowry. That will allow 1 run to score. Gaddis ends up in third. So it'll go as a strikeout, and Houston's up 3-2. A strikeout, wild pitch, and an error probably on Butera.
Hard slider down and in. Lowry kind of threw the bat in that general area where the ball was going to go also.
Just a bad throw by Drew.
And Albert was looking at the runner because he thought he was just going to continue around Springer.
Butera does get charged with the error. Second error of the ball game for the Angels. 2 outs, runners at the corners, and here's Castro. Forces Richards to throw more pitches. This one bounced foul.
And the throw down in the glove, and then the contact. If he holds on to that, he's probably going to be out at first base. The contact with Lowry and the glove all at the same time as Albert's looking at the Springer going around third. Didn't look like he was going to stop.
Yeah, ideally, and you can watch that replay, how Albert is set up. You want that throw on the foul side, on the glove side. But that throw kind of came back toward the fair side, and that's why all of a sudden you got a real dangerous position.
Yeah, that's tough
for Albert.
It's real tough because remember back in St. Louis when Albert was with Cardinal, a throw to similar where you have a runner going down the line and the collision with the baseball, the glove, and the runner hurt Albert's wrist.
0-2. Ground ball toward third. Freeze goes into the slide, has no play. Not sure why he didn't throw with Castro running, and it's 4-2 now. You lose nothing, and at least the throw across the diamond. Because Lowry's not going to go anywhere. That goes as an infield base hit and an RBI.
Because I think he's got time. No, I thought maybe he lost the grip of the baseball, but he had some time.
So now Carter will bat. Carter twice. Grounded out to Giavotella into the overshift.
Well, Garrett's had a little bit of everything in this game.
No doubt.
And considering the magnitude of making this comeback like he has, he's really been tested on the mental side of it.
One ball, 2 strikes. 2 runs here in the 5th inning.
It's more than likely it's going to be Garrett's last inning. Get through this, keep it close.
Ball hasn't left the infield. Those 2 runs have come across. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This has been helped out a lot defensively. Like I said, it's been an odd game for him.
Two now. Breaking ball, yanked foul.
This quite likely may be his last batter, regardless. Jose Alvarez, lefty up, and Vinny Castano, the righty up. Colby Rasmus on deck. See if he can get through this inning. put himself in position at the offense and score some runs, still pick up a W. You need to get this out first.
Yeah, after retiring the first two batters quickly, you're thinking to yourself, just looking at the pitch count, which is at 81, 82, I think. All right, he gets through Springer, then we got a chance to not only go 6, possibly into the 7th.
All this trying to be too quick, I think, when it came down is against Gaddis. Worrying about Springer and his speed at first.
Carter pulls one down the line, foul.
And he's starting to tire now. He's made 3 mistakes in a row to Carter. And that's a good conversation going on now with Butera, just trying to get him through this batter. See if he can get Carter to swing and miss. He's grounded out twice for Giovitello, who's been on the shortstop side of the base. When you're on the mound in these spots, you know this is probably your last batter. You got to think in terms of my very best pitch I can throw today.
Carter strikes out swinging, and the inning comes to an end, but not before the Angels defense lets Garrett down. 2 runs come across, and the Astros are back on top. A long, frustrating inning, no question about it, at the bottom of the 5th. On a ball that never left the infield. 2 runs coming across.
He threw 30 pitches in that inning.
Scott Feldman back out on the mound for Houston. It'll be Pujols, Joyce, and Freese for the Angels here in the 6th. Feldman with 3 strikeouts, 6 hits allowed, one of which was the home run to C.J. Cron in the 4th. At that point, it tied things up.
Pujols still getting booed here.
One ball, no strikes. 93 pitches thrown by Feldman, so more than likely his last inning. This one's out toward left center. Playable for Rasmus or Grossman. It's Grossman, the left fielder, putting it away. 1 down. Matt Joyce, a strikeout in the 1st inning, a fly ball to center in the 4th. to start today out in left field. One ball, no strikes.
Still trying to stay back, talking to himself, looking for something on the inner half. Get the good part of the bat on it. And that was a pitch that can do some damage, but still dropping that back shoulder, not that level swing.
Off speed pitch for a strike, and it's 1-2. Alvarez continues to warm up for the Angels, so Richards more than likely done after 5.
And certainly some positive in the game for Richards. He threw the ball well over 35 pitches at 95 miles an hour or better.
This one pulled to the right side. Altuve outstretched, makes the play on Joyce. 2 outs.
And with the shift on, Altuve showing his good range. Had time to get himself in good throwing position and gets Joyce on that ground ball. Hit well by Joyce. Will play better by Altuve.
Two up and 2 down, and here's Freeze. 1 for 2 with the base hit. Feldman's retired 6 in a row since the home run to Crone in the 4th inning.
100 pitches, 61 of them strikes, 39 out of the zone, 61% below average. You want to be at least around that 67 to 70% range as far as when you get to that 100 pitch mark.
This one out to shallow right field. Springer comes in, dealing with his lights, puts it away, and the Angels quietly in order here, the 6th. We'll head to the bottom of the frame. Still 4-2 Houston.
The all-new 2015 Subaru Forester, or go to Subaru.com to learn more.
4-2 Houston. Bottom of the 6th inning here at Minute Maid Park. Garrett Richards' first big league start since August at Fenway Park when he suffered that horrific knee injury. When you look at the line, it's not going to look pretty. At times he threw exceptionally well, but let down a little bit with the defense. The strike zone was kind of erratic all over the place. But overall, Richards goes 5 innings, gives up 4, 3 earned of those 4, 5 hits, including a home run, 4 strikeouts, and 4 walks.
I think overall, Mike Butcher, Mike Scioscia have to be happy with Garrett Richards. Very difficult to contain your emotions, be able to hit your spots. Good slider, good consistent velocity on his fastball too.
In and out, who's in, who is out. Richards done, and Jose Alvarez taking over. 6th game for Jose. 4 to 3rd innings, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Two balls, 1 strike. Rasmus, Grossman, and Altuve, 8-9-1. Rasmus, the center fielder this afternoon, 0 for 2, twice has grounded out to Pujols. Yanked foul.
You see the difference in the swing from Rasmus when he gets anything on the inside part of the plate. He's pretty quick inside. We talked about that the first game where he has the hands out over the plate, then brings it back in. Still looking for the inner half of the plate to do some damage.
Swing and a miss. Terra throws down to Pujols, completes a strikeout, and he does so for the first out here in the 6th. Follow the Angels all season long with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay, reviews, radio broadcast, statcasts, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet today. Bobby Grossman looks at a strike. Grossman 0 for 2. He's popped out twice. Both times to Ibar. One ball, 2 strike count. Looks like the Astros with action in their bullpen as left-hander Tony Sipp begins to loosen. Full count. Jose Altuve on deck. Swing and a miss. Good off-speed pitch. 2 down.
Boy, great changeup, great location. He's turned that one over at 78 miles an hour. Got his changeup. Circle changeup. Stayed on top. Bottom drops out. The speed and location gets a swing and miss.
Altuve a 2 for 3 game with a couple of singles. Ground ball to short. A 1-2-3, sixth inning for Alvarez. We head to the seventh. Halos down 4-2. Log on to MercuryInsurance.com to get a fast, free quote and see how much you can save. And buy Hyundai. Great deals on amazing cars are going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today. Well, the Halos offense still trying to figure it out. They've scored 2 runs in the last 16 innings against the Houston Astros. And they'll face a left-hander, Tony Sipp. First time he's appeared in this series. 4 games this year, no record, 5 1/3 innings. He's allowed just 1 earned run. The Angels will have Ibar, Cron, and Butera here in the 7th.
Yeah, he's got a fastball, 89 to 93 slider. He's doing a lot more changeups this year.
Scott Feldman, 6 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. Home run to Cron, 3 strikeouts and no walks. Ibar pulls one toward the hole, and that is off the glove of Jed Lowry. Even if he comes up with it, it's going to go for an infield base hit. Leadoff man on board with a single. That'll bring up Cron.
When C.J. Cron, his last time up, had a breaking ball. As you take a look on the left side, a breaking ball that was hanging out over the plate, missed it, pulled off. You see the hip flying wide open, but the next time a breaking ball, this time down, kept his hip in long enough. It got the barrel of the bat on the baseball and hit out for a 2-run home run. Just that slight differential as far as keeping the hip in a little bit longer, stayed back, used the barrel of the bat, and got it out of the ballpark.
Now with 3 runs batted in on the season.
He had another pitch right there. Well, again, just opened up just enough and dropped his back shoulder. The home run ball, he stayed back on it well, kept the shoulders level, enabled him to get the barrel of the bat on the baseball.
No balls, 2 strikes. Sipp last year started the year with the Padres, was asked for his release, became a free agent, and it was granted and signed with the Astros. 4-3 with 4 saves and a 3.38 ERA for the Astros.
Sipp's career ERA against the Angels, 6.23.
Ibar with a leadoff single, has a big lead over at first base. Nobody out here in the 7th. I'll check in on it.
I remember Sipp being on the mound when Albert had a walk-off home run against, or walk-off double at home against Sipp.
Butera on deck. Crone fouls it off. Fastball in.
Come on, Tone. Come on, Tone.
Hyundai key to this game, still bright out, looking for the long ball. When you're struggling as a team to manufacture a run, you're just looking for a mistake or two to drive it out of the ballpark.
Off speed down the right field line, but slicing out of play. So it's still at no balls and 2 strikes. Off the plate. 1-2.
Nice strike. Good boy.
Astros got 2 in the 3rd on the Valbuena home run to left field. 2-run shot. Crone tied it up with a home run to left in the 4th. And then 2 runs came across in the 5th inning. Without a baseball getting to the outfield. Infield base hit, a walk. Strikeout, wild pitch brought in a run. Error by Butera. And an infield base hit by Castro. Fouled back.
His job was staying alive in this at bat. Had a couple pitches, but the first 2 were right down the middle of the plate. Missed them. Now fighting off some tough pitchers' pitches. See if you get one of those mistakes back. So Calgill grabbing a bat and a helmet, potentially to be a pinch hitter coming up this inning.
More than likely for Butera, who's on deck. Still at 1-2. Giavatello to follow Butera, and then the top of the order.
Depending on the circumstance, Chris Iannetta also a potential pinch hitter.
Just making sure Ibar is staying close to the bag of first base.
Well, that's what you want if you're Eric Ibar, just to have Sip distracted enough when you have a power bat at the plate. You try to be quicker to the plate, you make more mistakes when you try to do so.
Here comes the 1-2. Bouncing now, and Ibar takes the extra base on the wild pitch.
That's a good read by Eric. His great baseball instincts, very good base runner. Read that one in the dirt. Castro keeps it in front. Didn't get away far, but a great read by Eric Ibar. Secondary lead and goes right away. The commitment to go, slides in, now in scoring position.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Crone chases a pitch around his neck, and he goes down for the first out.
After some tough swings, fighting off some tough pitches, chases one well above the letters. Very difficult to make contact with. Hitters so often will chase high fastballs because they can see it well, but very difficult to catch up to.
So Cowgill will bat for Butera here. The Angels 0 for 3 today with men in scoring position.
Cowgill was out early today. A few of the guys with that early batting practice this morning.
Angels are 0 for their last 11 with men in scoring position. And back to last night. Butera finishes the afternoon going 1 for 2 with a base hit. Cowgill hitting .200, 5 for 25, 2 doubles, a home run, 2 runs batted in. A big game tying home run earlier in this road trip against the Texas Rangers. Here's the 1-0. Strike on the fastball.
Angels last year had a couple nice comebacks against the Astros. Down 6-3 back on July 4th. Fourth inning came back to win that one 7-6. Walk-off home run by Trout. July 5th they were down 5-1 and came back and scored 8 runs in the 7th to win 11-5.
Skied to shallow left. Jed Lowry is there. 2 outs. So it'll be up to Johnny Giavotella here to keep this inning going. Angels second baseman 1 for 2 with a single in the third.
Trout going over a scouting report with Don Baylor. What to look for against Sip if he's still in the game. If he gets to the plate, whether this inning or next.
Astros do have a right-hander getting ready in the pen. Will Harris pitched in the first game of the series. So if we were to get to that point, I would imagine Harris probably faces Trout. Four to 2 Houston. Here the 7th. Leadoff single by Ibar. Now 2 outs. 1 ball 1 strike. Eric standing at second base.
Important to get this run, at least that 1 run home. It's a big difference late in the game. 2-run deficits compared to a 1-run deficit. If you get someone on, you can manufacture a run. You're down by 2. You're not afforded that capability.
Big lead for Ibar at second. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Strike 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Down by 2 here in the 7th. Calhoun on deck. Two. Sip pretty much cut from the same cloth as far as Feldman is concerned. Really slows everything down. Now the 2-2. Ubatella pulls one to third. Valbuena has it across the diamond, and the Angels leave a man yet again in scoring position. We'll head to the bottom of the seventh. Still 4-2. Houston.
Come back to the mound. Pretty solid. 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, his 3 earned, 4 walks, 4 punch outs, 100 pitches. A couple plays made here and there. Pitch count would have went down, but for the most part controlled his emotions early on. A lot of pitches in that first inning, but made some quality ones to get through that. This one mistake, although granted it was just a fly ball to left field for a 2-run home run, but overall you got to be real happy to see Richards back on the hill and dominating once again with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
You could say the defense let him down a little bit, especially in that 5th inning. The offense certainly hasn't helped either. 2-run home run by Crone. Not been able to figure out Astros pitching over the last 2 games. Valbuena, Springer, and Gaddis here in the 7th. Alvarez had himself a 1-2-3-6. He's back out for another inning.
Probably out there for one batter.
Other side now that takes over behind the plate. Drew Butera was pinch hit for Calgo. Oh, 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Benny Pistano getting ready for the Angels. A couple of right-handers coming up, Springer and Gaddis. 2-2. Tapper foul. Full count. Jose picked up a couple of strikeouts in the 6th. Had Altuve to ground out to finish off that frame. 3-2. Fouling out of play. Oakland still leading Kansas City. It's 2-1. That game's in the 8th. Tigers beat the White Sox 9-1. Yankees leading the Rays 5-3. Rays on the verge of being swept at home by the Yankees. Seattle scored twice in the first. They lead the Rangers 2-0. Baltimore leading Boston 8-3. Playing another foul off. Cleveland trailing Minnesota 7-1. That game's in the 8th. Here it's 4-2 Houston at the bottom of the 7th. Halos will return home. 4-game series against Oakland beginning tomorrow. Texas over next weekend at home. Houston will be on its way to Seattle. That pitch is inside. It's a leadoff walk. Not what you want, especially in a lefty-lefty situation. And that's going to be it for Alvarez. A pitching change in the 7th. 4-2 Astros. Pistano pitching in his 5th game. No record, no ERA. 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. They'll be facing the heart here of the Astros order. Springer, Gaddis, and Lowry. Then he pitched Friday night, went 1/3 of an inning. Issued a walk. Everything else zeros for the right-hander.
With the offense struggling
Your job as a reliever coming in to make sure you keep the score as is.
Springer reached on the error by Freese in the first inning, walked in the third, and an infield base hit in the fifth. 1-for-2 game. Outfield straight around with Springer at the plate. Two and 0. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Thinking about Springer, he does not get cheated on his swing.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Perfect spot. Back-to-back fastballs away against Springer.
Valbuena over at first base. 2-2. It's down the right field line. Hit pretty well. Cole Calhoun into the corner. And that is gone. A home run. So says Dana DeMuth. Johnny Giavotella and Cole Calhoun don't believe it. Mike Scioscia's going to come out. As it stands now, it's 6-2. But we'll see if they will review this one.
I think home run calls it automatically. You don't need to have that challenge to do so.
And it was kind of a nonchalant call too by Dana DeMuth.
Yeah, they're going to check it.
I'm not sure he was. I mean, he certainly didn't look like he was sold on it. He didn't sell it. I mean, he just kind of stood there for a long time, and then at the last minute pointed. Didn't even signal for home run till after the fact. But Calhoun and even Giavotella pointed that way. That's foul, my friends.
Yes, that's foul for sure.
That'll be coming back.
This is a crew chief review. Yeah, that's foul.
Well, let's wait.
Well, yeah, we thought Altuve was out as well in the first inning. That was also a DeMuth call that got reviewed. Stood. When you see the hitter still standing with his helmet on the dirt, he saw it as foul.
He's like, oh, really?
I'll take it.
Yes.
I mean, Giavotella was nowhere near the line, and he saw it, came running over to DeMuth.
This is significant for this to be foul.
Yeah, they haven't even shown it on the Jumbotron here inside Minute Maid Park. It's a foul ball. So Valbuena back to first. I mean, the mere fact that it took DeMuth a couple of seconds to even make the determination was kind of like a pickup in his head. Okay, that way.
That's
fair.
also where a replay really comes into play and helps an umpire if he doesn't get a good view of that play down the line.
Call gets overturned, so Springer back at the plate, Valbuena at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Springer. Breaking ball. Looking like a pretty good pitch. And, Chris Arnett upset himself that he kind of gave up on that pitch. Went down to a knee and may have taken it out of the zone, but Foxtrot seemed to have gotten into the zone.
Getting the outside corner. Yeah, Chris is basically saying he thought he got it. Hit his spot. Didn't get the call.
Full count. Valbuena takes off. Swing and a miss. A throw down to second base. It's a high throw.
It's going to be
his interference at the plate.
It's going to be either he's going to be out or he's going to force him back.
Now Estabrook is saying that there is no contact there.
Well, he crossed over the plate. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, he's got to be able to get some help. Maybe Dan DeMuth over at first base. He clearly impeded the throw by Chris Iannetta. The swing. And then steps out over the plate.
Clearly impeded Iannetta's ability to throw down to second base. That'll go as a stolen base to Valbuena. One out. Gaddis at the plate. Gaddis at DH 0 for 1 with a strikeout, 2 walks, and a run scored. Slider in for a strike. Good off-speed pitch. It's an 0-2 count now.
He's got that frisbee slider working from that arm angle. Very difficult for a right-handed batter to stay back and stay in on that pitch.
Down goes Gaddis, 2 down.
Slider. It's been down. Swing and miss. Gaddis with 2 strikeouts on the day, 2 walks on the day now.
Potentially walk Jet Lowry here to face Jason Castro. Cesar Ramos getting ready. Ball 3.
By design, you would think at this point Mike Scioscia's going to go to the bullpen, go lefty.
And there's ball 4. Mike Scioscia coming up the steps, and that's exactly what he's going to do. As Castro's coming up, he is going to match up here. So we have ourselves a pitching change yet again here in the 7th. 4-2 Houston.
Jason Castro threw 3 pitches the other night on Friday night. A double play ball, picked up the victory, his first as an Angel. He's been very solid so far in 5 games. This will be his 6th game, 3 1/3 innings pitched. His job right here is to get Castro out and see if he put himself in position again to pick up another W.
He'll have 2 men on, and Valbuena at second and Lowry at first. Castro this afternoon 1 for 3, an RBI single in the 5th. Second run batted in of the season. First pitch in there for a strike. Caught the bottom part of the strike zone, according to Fox Tracks. One ball, 1 strike. Lefties against Ramos so far this year, 1 for 7. One, little flare to second, and that'll do it. Ramos gets the job done. 8 in the books in Houston. Halos at the top of the order, coming up, down by 2.
Brooke, about that play, the interference impeding his throw, and he's explained exactly where he was on the plate. He's stepping across the plate. It's very difficult for a catcher to follow through on his delivery to the throw to second. Easy, at the very least, you bring back the runner back to first base, or you can call him out.
And it wasn't as if the swing took Springer across the plate. He swung.
It was a frustrated swing and stood that way.
Yep. Clearly looks like Estabrook explained to Iannetta that he did not impede your ability to throw down to second base. Pat Neshek on a relief here in the 8th inning. Tony Sipp, scoreless 7th, gave up the leadoff single to Ibar, but nothing else. Well, Calhoun takes down and away. Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols for the Angels here in the 8th. Neshek pitched 1 inning yesterday, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Cole 1 for 3 today, had a single back in the 3rd. Skies this one. Foul and out of play.
Neshek, fastball 87-90, Slider, changeup. You just feel as a left-handed batter, you can see the baseball out of his hand the whole way to the plate.
This one pulled down the line, foul. Stick around after the last down. Angels Live post game presented by your SoCal Mazda dealers. It's Curry and Jose Mota will break it down for you.
Sure, we'll get some reaction for first start out for Garrett Richards today.
Fouled off the left. Down the line, tailing away from Valbuena into foul territory, and just runs out of room.
He had to go a long way to catch that foul pop-up. Put the shift on.
Cole skies one out toward right center field. Jake Marisnick, the new center fielder, calls off Springer. One down. Colby Rasmus moved over to left, so Robbie Grossman no longer in the ballgame. John 0 for 3. First one in for a strike. Went around. 0-2.
That hard slider off the plate after he brought that two-seam fastball back and catch the outside corner. Trying to stay away, continue to stay away against Trout. Trying to chase something off speed off the plate. And go back with another slider.
And Trout goes down swinging, 2 outs.
It's a good sharp slider. Check very difficult for right-handed batters to see the ball well against.
2 outs, nobody on it. Pujols at the plate. He's 1 for 3 with a single back in the first. Angels offense just continued to sputter here, especially over the last 2 games. They've had the opportunities and just not taking advantage of it. Two runs over the last 17 and 2/3 innings.
They were in some pretty good hitters' counts and just missed them, pulled off some pitches away.
Albert reaching for the slider. Fouls it back. Now remains at 0-2.
Talking about Trout, he's talking about the rotation of the slider away. He's trying to read that rotation. You'll see the different spin on the seams of the baseball.
Pulled foul. Looks like Pistano will come back out for the bottom of the 8th inning. Carter, Rasmus, and Marisnick due up. And Pujols gets into one to left field. Rasmus is back, and that one is gone. A big fly for Albert Pujols, 3rd of the season, and the deficit is 1.
Like an 0-2 changeup. Ishak not real happy with himself. Pujols, accustomed to hitting home runs against Houston, just got that one out. Home run number 46 in his career in the regular season for Pujols against the Astros. Changeup that stayed up. Odd pitch to throw. 0-2 changeup. Pujols stayed back on it enough to get it out of here.
Especially for a guy that has been struggling offensively. You're almost doing him a favor.
You're speeding up his bat.
Yeah.
Come on now.
523rd career home run for Albert.
Okay.
Joyce 0 for 3. One ball, no strikes. Or pardon me, 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-out home run by Albert. 6 runs batted in. A multi-hit game for Pujols. Single and a home run.
Boy, especially when you have a hitter swinging at pitches that far off the plate, why would you throw a changeup? Especially because you know from that arm angle he's going to throw, it's going to drift back to the plate. And Albert was ready. That's a huge run also.
Changeup missing outside.
You have the possibility of tying it up still in this inning or going ahead, but even if next inning you're still only down by 1, you get a guy on, you can bunt someone over. The guy in scoring position is the base hit, ties it up. And the mindset for a pitcher is a lot different with a 1-run lead as compared to a 2-run lead.
Here's a 3-2. Joyce lifts one out toward right center field. Springer moving to his right, Marisnick to his left, and it's Marisnick making the call and the catch. And the Angels are done here in the 8th. Pujols draws the Angels within a run with his 3rd home run of the season, 523rd of his career as we head to the bottom of the 8th. 4-3 Houston.
Stake on a changeup. Pujols made him pay. 46 career home runs against the Astros.
4-3 Houston here, the bottom of the 8th inning. Cesar Ramos took over for Vinny Pistano in the 7th inning. Got Castro to finish off the 7th, stays in the game. It's Chris Carter, the first baseman. Just been swinging.
Fastball down and away against Carter. It's been the theme so far in this series, trying to stay away.
One ball, one strike. Carter 0 for 3. 2 ground out to the strikeout. 3 for 39 to start the year. Two balls, one strike. Good off speed.
Pitching backwards, fastball count. Good changeup. Great location with the pitch also.
Rasmus on deck. 2-2 on the way from Ramos.
Good boy, Chris.
It's down and away.
If we come back with a changeup now, 3-2 changeup. You can do that, especially after you dismiss with a 2-seam fastball. Hitter tracks it. Got the call a little bit off the plate, but you can go changeup now.
Lifts one out to shallow right. Cole Calhoun calling for it. One down. The Anaheim Ducks notched another exciting come from behind win against the Winnipeg Jets in Game 2 of Round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They now lead the series 2 games to none. Coverage of Game 3 from Winnipeg begins tomorrow at 5:30 with Ducks Live pregame show. The puck drops at 6 p.m. on Prime Ticket.
Little snow up there in Winnipeg also. Silverberg with that big goal with 19 seconds left.
Yep.
Behind the net, came around, scored. 24 comeback wins for the Ducks.
That's how they roll.
2 already in the postseason.
Rasmus takes down and away.
Remember the old 4th quarter with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. The 3rd period is the Ducks period. It's the Stetters. They own it. Ownage.
Two balls, no strikes on Rasmus. 0 for 3 game. Three and 0. Jake Marisnick on deck. And a 4-pitch walk to a left-handed batter. Puts a man on here with 1 out. And that may be it for Ramos. Sure enough, the right hand hitting Marisnick coming to the plate. We have ourselves a pitching change in the 8th. 4-3 Houston. With a right-hander coming up, goes to his right-hander of the bullpen. It's Mike Morin. When the Angel fans all weekend long here in Houston looking on as the Angels are trying to come from behind and pick up a series win. Sixth game, pardon me, for Mike Morin. No record. He's gone 3 2/3 innings. Giving up 2 hits, including the home run last night to Robbie Grossman. That was the opposite field blast, a 3-run shot. Rasmus over at first base. Marisnik coming up for his first plate appearance. He's off to a good start. 333. 1 double, 1 triple, 1 home run, 5 runs batted in.
This doesn't run a lot. Good speed at the plate, though. Marisnik runs very well.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. Good off-speed pitch. 0-2.
Got a great changeup.
Check swing foul.
Defensive swing on a fastball, high fastball, expanded the zone, especially after a changeup at 73 the pitch before, down at 91. Extremely difficult to time as a hitter. Checking in on Rasmus. That's all you have to do. You don't have to necessarily worry about throwing over a whole lot to him. Just hold the ball enough, step off, make him aware. Just don't let him get a walking lead against you.
Boy, pretty good pitch. Should have been strike 3.
Mike wanted it for sure. In that outside corner, and then left it there for a while.
Fouled off. Two balls and 2 strikes. Jose Altuve on deck. This one down the right field line, slicing, however, and out of play.
Be a bad time to throw a slider right now if you're Morin to get a swing and miss.
Ground ball to third. Should be 2. Freeze to Giavitello over to first. High throw. Gonna have to hurry with Marisnick. Reach on the fielder's choice, but there are 2 outs now.
And Marisnick gets down that line very fast, just like Altuve does. It's good feed. Transfer was quick, but a little bit of a high throw. Lower throw. He got him. Hard slide by Rasmus, forced a high throw.
Altuve 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. Halos in the 9th inning have Freese, Ibar, and Crone due up. Conversation now.
Careful on anything on the inner part of the plate now if you're Morin against Altuve. He's been patient for the most part today, but not in this spot if it's a fastball in.
Breaking ball over to third, and that hits the bag. That's a fair ball. Third hit of the afternoon for Altuve.
And when you put the ball in play, good things happen as a hitter. Was aggressive, right down the line, off the base. I see a break there for the Angels. Otherwise, that ball's down the line. It'll be second and third.
Here's Valbuena. We've seen, this is the 3rd time in this game we've seen kind of a weird inning. Little things kind of playing out. Led to 2 runs in the 5th inning. The ball that never got out of the infield.
That's a big batter too for Morin too. A left-handed batter. He struggled last year against lefties. Important if you want to be in the 7th, 8th inning guy.
Hit out toward left center field. Hit well. Joyce, however, is there. And he'll make the catch. Inning over as we head to the 9th. The Halos are down by a run. Have Freese, Ibar, and Crone coming up. To try to close it out for the Astros, and the Angels trying to come from behind and pick up the series win. Gregerson pitched last night. The right-hander, former Oakland Athletic, with 1 inning and had 2 strikeouts as he pitched in the 9th inning. He faced Freese, Joyce, and Ibar last night.
He's been very tough on the Angels throughout his career. Mentioned last night, ERA now at 0.57 for Gregerson. Now his 16th game in his career versus the Angels. All you need is a bloop and a blast, and you got the lead.
Freese 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. Fastball in there. Evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gregerson not overpowering himself. Like Nishak, fastball 87 to 90. Very good slider. Throws a lot of them, and a changeup.
Breaking ball pulled toward third. Valbuena to the backhand has it. 1 down.
Valbuena done a nice job at third base in the series. On the backhand, he's got a strong throwing arm, a long throw across the diamond. Gets Freese for the first out.
Eric Ibar will look at a strike. Eric a 1 for 3 game with a single. Missed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Trying to pull that little sinker away. Very difficult to do so. Try to punch it by Valbuena at third base.
One-two pitch, and Ibar swings and misses on the breaking ball. 2 outs. It'll bring C.J. Cron to the plate. Last chance for the Angels.
4th inning, he got a slider. Stayed back on and drove it out. The 2-run home run back in the 4th inning. Chance he'll get a couple sliders here against Gregerson. The one will spin out over the plate. He can drive it again.
Breaking ball for strike 1.
Almost like that one there, if you're ready to hit.
Ground ball to first. Chris Carter has it. And the Astros take the finale of the 3-game set by the final of 4-3.
Houston's bullpen's been pretty solid. Some pretty good at bats. Valbuena had a solid series. Houston's been pitching well at the top as far as ERA. Played some solid defense, some timely hits, and an odd game overall for the Angels. Garrett Richards making his debut through the